The rise of Mike Tyson. What would you do if you earned over $400 million and then lost almost all of it? Today, we're telling the incredible story of Mike Tyson, a boy who grew up in poverty, became the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history, earned hundreds of millions of dollars, lost it all, and somehow found a way back. This is the rise, fall, and comeback of Mike Tyson. Before we begin, tell us in the comments, what's your favorite Mike Tyson moment? Now let's begin. Chapter 1, a tough childhood. Long before the fame, long before the championships, Mike Tyson was just a young boy growing up in one of the toughest neighborhoods in Brooklyn, New York. Life was difficult, crime was everywhere, violence was common, and opportunities were rare. Tyson often found himself in trouble. As a child, he was arrested many times. Many people believed he would never amount to anything, but there was one thing that made Mike different. He was strong, very strong, and deep inside him was a determination that would eventually change his life. Chapter 2, Discovering Boxing. Everything changed when Tyson was introduced to boxing. For the first time in his life, he found something he truly loved. Inside the boxing gym, he wasn't just another troubled kid. He was a fighter, a young athlete with extraordinary talent. Soon, legendary trainer Cus D'Amato noticed him, and that meeting would change Tyson's future forever. Cus saw something special. He believed Mike Tyson could become a world champion. More importantly, he became a father figure to Tyson. He taught him discipline, he taught him confidence, and he taught him how to believe in himself. Chapter 3, The Youngest Heavyweight Champion. The training paid off. Mike Tyson began destroying opponents, fight after fight, knockout after knockout. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing, a young boxer with incredible speed, incredible power, and incredible confidence. Then history was made. In 1986, at just 20 years old, Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history. The world was shocked. A young man from Brooklyn had reached the very top, but this was only the beginning. Chapter 4, Fame and Fortune. Success arrived quickly, and so did money. Lots of money. Tyson became one of the most famous athletes on earth. Millions of fans watched his fights. Sponsors wanted to work with him. Television networks paid huge sums. Every appearance generated attention. The money kept flowing. Soon Tyson was earning millions of dollars every year. Luxury cars, mansions, jewelry, private parties, and extravagant lifestyle. It seemed like the dream would never end. But behind the scenes, problems were beginning to grow, and those problems would eventually change everything. End of part 1. In the next part, Mike Tyson reaches the absolute peak of his fame, but a series of mistakes, controversies, and life-changing decisions will send him down a path nobody expected. Part 2. The Fall Begins. Chapter 5. The Most Feared Man in Boxing. By the late 1980s, Mike Tyson wasn't just a champion, he was a global phenomenon. People paid enormous amounts of money to watch him fight. Many of his opponents looked defeated before the fight even started. Tyson's reputation was terrifying. His knockouts became legendary. Some fights ended in less than a minute. The world had never seen anything quite like him. Money flowed in faster than he could spend it. By some estimates, Tyson would earn hundreds of millions of dollars during his career. He bought luxury cars, expensive jewelry, massive homes, exotic pets. At one point, he famously owned Bengal tigers. The lifestyle was extraordinary, but success can sometimes create dangerous illusions. Tyson believed the money would never stop. Unfortunately, life had other plans. Chapter 6. Trouble Outside the Ring. As Tyson's fame grew, so did the controversies. His personal life became front-page news. Reporters followed him everywhere. Every mistake became a headline. Every argument became a story. The pressure was enormous. At the same time, the people around him were changing. Some were loyal, others were simply attracted by his fame and fortune. Tyson later admitted that during this period, he made many poor decisions. The discipline that helped him become champion was slowly disappearing. Training became inconsistent, distractions increased, and the warning signs were becoming impossible to ignore. Yet from the outside, many people believed Tyson was living the perfect life. They saw the wealth, the fame, the luxury, but they couldn't see the storm that was approaching. Chapter 7. The shocking downfall. Then came the moment that changed everything. A legal case placed Tyson at the center of worldwide attention. The headlines were everywhere. News channels covered every development. Millions of people watched as events unfolded. Eventually, Tyson was sentenced to prison. The news shocked the world. The heavyweight champion, one of the most famous athletes on earth, now facing years behind bars. For Tyson, everything changed overnight. The fame remained, but the freedom was gone. The future that once looked unstoppable suddenly became uncertain. Many believed his career was finished. Many believed he would never recover. And while Tyson was behind bars, the boxing world continued moving forward without him. Chapter 8. Life behind bars. Prison forced Tyson to confront realities he had spent years avoiding. For perhaps the first time in a long time, there were no cheering crowds, no championship celebrations, no luxury lifestyle. Just time to think, time to reflect, time to consider how quickly success can disappear. Many athletes never recover after a setback of this magnitude. Many disappear from the spotlight forever. But Tyson still believed he could return. He still believed his story wasn't over. And after serving his sentence, he would finally get the opportunity to prove it. Chapter 9. The comeback attempt. When Tyson was released, the world wanted answers. Could he become champion again? Could he return to the top? Could the most feared boxer in history reclaim his throne? The anticipation was enormous. Fans packed arenas, television audiences returned, and Tyson once again stepped into the ring. His comeback generated millions of dollars. The excitement was unbelievable. For a moment, it seemed possible that Tyson might complete one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. But another challenge was waiting, a challenge even bigger than prison, a challenge that would eventually cost him nearly everything. End of Part 2. Coming in Part 3, the spending spiral. Mansions, cars, tigers, and luxury excess. How a man who earned over $400 million ended up facing bankruptcy, and the shocking financial collapse that stunned the world. Part 3. Losing everything. Chapter 10. A fortune of over $400 million. By the time Mike Tyson reached the peak of his career, he had earned an astonishing amount of money. Some estimates suggest Tyson earned more than $400 million throughout his boxing career. For most people, that amount of money would last several lifetimes. But Tyson wasn't living like most people. He was spending money faster than almost anyone could imagine. And soon, the consequences would become impossible to ignore. Chapter 11. The luxury lifestyle. Tyson loved living large, very large. He bought mansions, luxury vehicles, jewelry worth millions, exotic animals, lavish gifts, and extravagant parties. One of his most famous purchases was a collection of Bengal tigers. These weren't ordinary pets. They required expensive care, special facilities, and constant attention. Tyson also owned dozens of luxury cars. Many sat unused for long periods of time. Money was leaving his accounts as quickly as it arrived. At the time, it didn't seem like a problem. After all, he was still famous, still fighting, still earning, but eventually, the numbers stopped making sense. Chapter 12. The money disappears. As the years passed, Tyson's financial situation became increasingly complicated. There were business expenses, personal expenses, legal expenses, taxes, and a lifestyle that cost enormous amounts of money to maintain. Many wealthy people hired teams of financial experts to protect their fortunes. But even then, poor decisions can be extremely expensive. The warning signs were there. But by the time Tyson fully realized the situation, the damage had already been done. Millions were gone, then tens of millions, then even more. The fortune that once seemed endless was rapidly shrinking. Chapter 13. Bankruptcy shocks the world. Then came the announcement that stunned millions of fans. Mike Tyson filed for bankruptcy. The man who had earned hundreds of millions of dollars was now facing serious financial problems. For many people, it was impossible to understand. How could someone earn so much money and still lose it? The story became international news. Critics mocked him. Headlines appeared everywhere. Many people assumed Tyson's life was finished. Many believed he would never recover. Once again, the world was writing him off. And once again, Tyson would have to prove them wrong. Chapter 14. Hitting rock bottom. Losing money is difficult. Losing fame can be difficult, but losing both at the same time can be devastating. Tyson later spoke openly about some of the darkest periods of his life. The pressure was overwhelming. His public image had changed. His financial situation had changed, and the future seemed uncertain. For many people, this is where the story would end. But Mike Tyson wasn't finished yet, not even close. Because sometimes, and the most important chapter of a person's life begins after everything falls apart. Chapter 15. A new opportunity. As the years passed, Tyson began rebuilding, slowly, carefully, step by step. He started sharing his story. People became interested in hearing about his experiences, not just the victories, not just the championships, but the lessons, the mistakes, the struggles, and the wisdom gained from surviving them. For the first time, many fans saw a different side of Mike Tyson, a more reflective side, a more mature side, a man determined to learn from his past. End of Part 3. Coming in, Part 4, the incredible comeback, how Mike Tyson reinvented himself for a new generation, how he rebuilt his fortune, and why millions of people now respect him more than ever before. The final chapter is the most inspiring part of the entire story. Part 4, the comeback, Chapter 16, rebuilding from the ground up. Most people know Mike Tyson as a boxer. Some know him as a champion. Others remember the controversies, but very few expected what happened next. After losing much of his fortune, after facing public criticism, and after experiencing some of the darkest periods of his life, Tyson made a decision. He would rebuild, not as a boxer, but as a person. Instead of focusing on the past, he began focusing on the future. And slowly, people started noticing a different Mike Tyson. Chapter 17. A new generation discovers Tyson. Years earlier, people knew Tyson for his knockouts. Now, a completely new generation was discovering him. They saw him in interviews, podcasts, television appearances, documentaries, and social media clips. Many were surprised. The intimidating fighter they expected was gone. Instead, they saw someone thoughtful, honest, and willing to speak openly about mistakes. For many fans, this new version of Tyson was even more inspiring than the old one, because anyone can celebrate success, but not everyone can survive failure. Chapter 18, Finding Success Again. As Tyson's popularity grew, new opportunities appeared. Business deals, media appearances, partnerships, events, interviews. Companies wanted to work with him. Audiences wanted to hear his story. People were fascinated by how he had survived so many challenges. And once again, money began flowing into Tyson's life. Not because he was knocking people out, but because he had become something else, a symbol of resilience. Chapter 19, Lessons from Failure. One of the reasons Tyson's comeback story resonates with so many people is because it feels real. He doesn't pretend to be perfect. He doesn't claim he made all the right decisions. In fact, he often speaks openly about the mistakes he regrets, and that's what makes his story powerful. People see themselves in those struggles. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone faces setbacks. Everyone experiences failure at some point. But Tyson's journey proves that failure doesn't have to be the end. Sometimes, it becomes the beginning of something better. Chapter 20, The Legacy of Mike Tyson Today. Mike Tyson is remembered as one of the greatest heavyweight boxers in history. His knockouts remain legendary. His achievements remain historic, and his impact on boxing is undeniable. But his legacy goes beyond sports, because Tyson's story isn't just about winning championships. It's about surviving adversity. It's about getting back up after life knocks you down. It's about rebuilding when everything seems lost. And perhaps that's why millions of people continue to admire him. Not because he was perfect, but because he kept moving forward. Conclusion: Mike Tyson's life has been a journey unlike any other. From a troubled childhood in Brooklyn to becoming the youngest heavyweight champion in history, from earning hundreds of millions of dollars to bankruptcy, from worldwide fame to personal struggles, and finally into one of the most remarkable comeback stories in sports history. His story reminds us that success can disappear, money can disappear, fame can disappear, but determination, the willingness to keep going, can change everything. Now we want to hear from you. What was the most shocking part of Mike Tyson's story? Was it becoming the youngest heavyweight champion? Losing a fortune worth hundreds of millions? Filing for bankruptcy? Or rebuilding his life and career? Comment below and let us know. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible celebrity stories, rise and fall documentaries, and untold journeys. Thank you for watching Celeb Sphere. And remember, sometimes the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to stay down.